Live 5 News starts now with First Alert Weather, Irma Aftermath.
Right now, the low country is recovering after Tropical Storm Irma made its way through South Carolina. Much of the low country saw heavy wind and rain and, boy, a lot of flooding.
And you can see we have team coverage all across the low country right now with the very latest on the recovery efforts. Brad Stryker is downtown. Sydney Ryan is in Georgetown. Harv Jacobs in Ladson. Alexis Simmons on Edisto. Colby Satterfield in West Ashley. Chad Mills is on I-26.
We have them all over,
yes,
Debbie.
We do.
But first, this is the man, our chief meteorologist, Bill Walsh, in the First Alert Weather Center. You got some new information, Bill, on different stories we're watching right now, especially on this other hurricane, Jose.
Yeah, good news, although at this hour, Bill.
It's team coverage all around the low country with the latest on the problems people are still facing here in the low country. Karina Bolster on the roads in Berkeley County. Brad Stryker has the latest on the water concerns. And Michael Higdon has details on damaged cars. But the big question, when will we see even warmer weather? Good news, it's very soon. Check out this map. Warmer weather will be here as soon as tomorrow. Our chief meteorologist, Bill Walsh, is in the First Alert Weather Center. Bill, back in the 70s by the end of the week?
We could see temperatures knocking on.
But right now, we have news crews covering all the angles of this developing story. Alexis Simmons spoke with someone trapped under the tarp. Jordan Wilkerson is watching the roads and will alert you to any traffic issues that would affect your drive home this afternoon. But first, Karina Bolster has details on a warning to authorities days before yesterday's collapse. So what's this all about, Karina? Right now, many different elections happening all across the low country that could have an effect on you. Live 5 News has team coverage as voting continues for the next 2 hours. Michael Higdon is on the Isle of Palms. Alexis Simmons is West Ashley. And Colby Satterfield is in Mount Pleasant.
First, our Brad Stryker is in Georgetown. He is live where several important topics are on the ballot there, including the race for mayor. Brad, a busy day at the polls.
Live 5 News starts now with breaking news.
I realized that they were kidnapping me and that I couldn't get out of this situation, that they weren't going to let me go.
Breaking news right now, 2 kidnapping suspects in custody after several incidents involving USC students in Columbia in the last 30 minutes. Charleston native Jordan Dinsmore, whom you saw there, described what she says happened late Tuesday night when she got home to her apartment in Columbia after getting off work. She says 3 men forced her to the ground and then into a car at gunpoint to go to the ATM to withdraw money. Listen.
I was running through options in my mind, you know, can I crash the car? Can I try and veer off the side of the road? Can I run? What can I do? And basically, I just came to the realization, you know, I have to put as much.
Now, let's take you to Columbia, where that news conference starting after a kidnapping at an off-campus apartment. One of the victims is from the low country. Let's listen in now to Sheriff Leon Lott.
We want to go ahead and let people know that, you know, the bad guys responsible for these crimes.
Breaking news right now in the Glen Terrace neighborhood. We're going to take a live look. There you see it at Maryland Drive off Dorchester Road, where state marshals and North Charleston police are on the scene. Dispatch is confirming that they are there for a wanted subject. The call came in just before 4 o'clock this afternoon. We'll give you an update as soon as new details become available here at Live 5. Okay, we're going to go back to the breaking news that we just told you about off Dorchester Road. And there you see the subject just came out of the house with his hands up. There you see these are live pictures. Authorities are taking him away. Obviously, he is handcuffed. You see his hands behind his back, and they're putting him in a vehicle to take him away. That is the very latest with this breaking news. And of course, we'll bring you more as U.S. Marshals and North Charleston police are there on the scene. Our news crew is there. You see them zooming into his feet. He hasn't been put into the vehicle just yet, but they are taking him away. This is off Dorchester Road in North Charleston. And of course, we'll bring you more information on what charges that this person is.
Live 5 News starts now with breaking news.
This was not a terrorist act. This was not a hate crime. This was a case, a tragic case of a disgruntled individual, I think with a history of some mental health challenges. I got to tell you, these brave men and women who provide public safety to our community, they did an incredible job. We should every day be thankful. You never know what day they're going to be needed for any kind of situation, and they're there to protect our community and our citizens.
We continue to follow breaking news downtown. One person shot dead and a shooter in critical condition this afternoon after a hostage situation at Virginia's restaurant on King Street. The shooting happened about 2 blocks from the College of Charleston campus. Police say the shooter came into the restaurant and ordered everyone on the floor. Those in the restaurant were able to get out. We know one person who was shot has died. And again, the shooter is in critical condition himself.
We've had team coverage on this situation since it started about 12:17 this afternoon. But first, Charleston County under a severe thunderstorm warning for the next 15 minutes. Our chief meteorologist Bill Walsh in the First Alert Weather Center. So, Bill, how's it going right now?
Well, pretty busy out there weather-wise as well. We are
Live 5 News starts now with First Alert Weather, Irma Aftermath.
Right now, the Low Country is recovering after Tropical Storm Irma made its way through South Carolina. Much of the Low Country saw heavy wind and rain and, boy, a lot of flooding.
And you can see we have team coverage all across the Low Country right now with the very latest on the recovery efforts. Brad Stryker is downtown. Sydney Ryan is in Georgetown. Harv Jacobs in Ladson. Alexis Simmons on Edisto. Colby Satterfield in West Ashley. Chad Mills is on I-26.
We have them all over,
yes,
Debbie.
We do.
But first, this is the man, our chief meteorologist, Bill Walsh in the First Alert Weather Center. You got some new information, Bill, on different stories we're watching right now, especially on this other hurricane, Jose.
Yeah, good news, though, at this hour, Bill and Debbie, as we continue to watch Jose. Kind of a disorganized storm, getting a lot of wind shear from this, and that's good news. We don't want to see this thing increase in intensity, and actually tough to find the center, but right about there, well to the northeast of the Bahamas. As we get a little bit closer, you can see the storm is not as organized as it could be. As we take a look at the current numbers of Jose, still well out there as Category 1 hurricane at 27.6 north, 67.4 west, 987 on the pressure. The good news at this hour, both the European and the GFS continue a trend to keep it away from the United States as we head into Thursday, Friday, and Saturday as a recurving storm staying out to sea. That certainly is good news. Looks like there's going to be a bit of a break between 2 areas of high pressure, and intensity keeps it at a 1. Although, looking at some of the discussions and some of the CDO over the storm right now, the Central Dense Overcast, the energy source, looks like it may even increase a little bit. And that's at least my thinking as it continues over some pretty warm water out here, and maybe a little less shear, but bottom line is at this point and at this hour, it looks like it's going to continue to push off to the northeast. Now, we'll continue to watch this each and every time. Watch us on Facebook as well. Follow us there. We'll take no more hurricanes. We'd like to see that, but we'll watch Jose and keep you posted with First Alert Weather. Back to you guys.
Thank you, Bill. Right now, several school districts plan to reopen tomorrow as usual. Beaufort, Berkeley, DD2, Dorchester District 2 and District 4, and Georgetown schools will all be open as normal tomorrow. However, Charleston County School District will reopen tomorrow as well, except for West Ashley Head Start and Minnie Hughes. They will not reopen tomorrow. Colleton County will operate on a 2-hour delay tomorrow. Williamsburg schools will remain closed through tomorrow.
And right now, downtown Charleston trying to recover after intense flooding and storm surge from Irma. A lot of folks saw knee-deep water near the Battery and Waterfront Park. Brad Stryker is downtown right now. Brad, how are you finding things there?
Lots of flooding still downtown, Debbie. I'm actually on the intersection of Broad and Chisholm Street right now. If you take a look to my right-hand side, you can see some of that deep water that you were just talking about. Now, a lot of police crews have actually set up stations, barricades rather, right here along different intersections in different areas across the Low Country and across the downtown Charleston area. They're still blocking a lot of people from going onto certain roads because, like I said, it is still flooded in a lot of areas out here. Now, any place that you don't see flooding or big big puddles, you're most likely going to find a lot of debris, and that's what a lot of crews are continuing to try to clean up tonight. Now, coming up tonight at 6, I'm going to be speaking with somebody who actually had their home flood from this big storm. But even before that, they've had this experience before. For now, live in downtown Charleston, I'm Brad Stryker, Live 5 News.
Thank you, Brad. Right now, many areas across the low country are still trying to dry out. This video from Sky Tracker 5. It's of Shadow Moss, a neighborhood that all too often has had to deal with flooding. And some more video from Sky Tracker 5. Here's a church. This is on Bees Ferry Road. This church has also flooded, especially last year during Hurricane Matthew.
Right now, there are still thousands of people without power here in the low country. Nearly 10,000 people don't have power in Charleston County, another 6,500 in Beaufort County. You can see the outages here on the SCE&G outage map. Authorities say they are working hard to get that power back on, and all of Charleston County, they believe, should have power restored within the next 2 days. Remember, if you don't have power, you can watch us on your phone or on your tablet.
Right now, areas in West Ashley are trying to dry out after the storm yesterday. Colby Satterfield is here in West Ashley. Colby, how do things look where you are right now?
Debbie, there's a lot more drying out to happen here in West Ashley. We're right by Church Creek right now, and you can see cars can't even get home right now. And either which way you look, if we can turn around and walk this way with me, this cul-de-sac, I just talked with 2 families that live at the end of this, and they had to park their cars at the end, put on their waders, and walk out just so they can leave to go to the grocery store or get anything they need. And I also talked with a woman you can see who lives right at the end of this road. She said she's been flooding for the past 3 years, but yesterday was unlike any other year. She said the way the storm surge was coming in, they have the water in their backyard was rising so drastically. She said she would say it rose about a foot in just 15 minutes. This is a look at what some West Ashley communities are dealing with today as we continue to dry out. I'm live in West Ashley, Colby Satterfield, Live 5 News.
Colby, thank you. This afternoon, Governor McMaster announced he had lifted the evacuation order for several barrier islands on the South Carolina coast. Hilton Head, Defusky, Telefinny, and Knowles Islands have reopened for reentry, but Harbor Island, Hunting Island, Fripp, and Edisto all have restricted access. DNR officials were accessing the islands by boat just to make sure everyone who decided to stay was safe.
Residents on Tybee Island woke up this morning to a good bit of damage. Raycom's Elizabeth Rollins has details from Georgia.
I'm standing here at one of the oceanfront properties on Tybee Island, and we're finally getting a first look at the damage. Check it out. You can see the balcony was completely wiped out from this top unit. Another one of the buildings, part of the roof is gone. And this time yesterday, this entire building was surrounded by water, including Highway 80, the main road leading out to Tybee Island. That finally reopened today after Georgia Department of Transportation had to inspect the bridges. But many folks here on Tybee are still without power. Reporting for the Raycom News Network, I'm Elizabeth Rollins.
Right now, many evacuees trying to get back home after Irma. Bill Walsh is keeping an eye on the roads right now. Bill, I-95 still a problem?
It's still a problem, still slow. It's just slow going. There's just heavy volume out there. And in the low country, actually, things are looking pretty good. You know, this time of the day, this bridge right here will be full, right? Coming in and out of North Charleston over to Daniel Island and Mount Pleasant. But right now, things are good. Look at the green on the map. The only big problem will be certainly navigating around flooded areas like down by the Battery. So definitely try to avoid that area. Also, back up this way as you take a look towards, say, Lockwood and Gadsden over there toward Wentworth. Some of these usual spots that flood, we've got, obviously, you've seen the flooding on our video and our reporters that are out there. But Bill was talking about I-95. It's really slow, about 10, 12 miles an hour in some places, approaching 26 and coming back in as well from Columbia. So again, some of that heavy traffic there on I-95. And then back over this way toward the islands. Right now we're okay. Mount Pleasant, though, still has some slowdowns, and I think Long Point still closed. We'll double check on that one, but we'll keep you posted on that. As you take a look at some of the well, some of the drive times, not bad. 26 looking very, very nice, about 19 minutes as you go from downtown to Summerville. And typically on a day like this, 526 would be a lot more jammed up, but looks pretty good right now. More coming up right here in this half hour.
The South Carolina Department of Health and Environmental Control wants you to report Tropical Storm Irma damage to authorities. Damage to beachfront structures, including any seawalls or walkovers, can be reported using the DHEC My Coast web and mobile app. Property owners should also report damage to structures, including homes, to local building authorities.
Even inland from the coast, many people saw damage from Irma. Carter Coyle has details from Somerville.
There is some traffic still moving on Sumter Avenue in Somerville here, but half the road is still blocked off after a tree fell on top of a power line. Dorchester County emergency officials tell us about 1,000 people are still without power throughout the county. At least 4 roads are still closed because of flooding like this from Irma yesterday, along with smaller residential roads that still have power lines down or a lot of debris to clean up. Meanwhile, a Citgo in Somerville ended up losing part of the roof that was hanging over its gas pumps. Neighbors tell me part of that awning was already gone, but the rest of it peeled off because of a strong wind gust yesterday about 1 o'clock.
We were afraid it was going to blow into the apartments, that are adjacent of the gas station. So it was pretty quick, and it was just really, loud.
The county is still under a state of emergency. DD2 and DD4 schools will resume as normal tomorrow. In Somerville, Carter Coyle, Live 5 News.
Live 5 News starts now with breaking news.
This was not a terrorist act. This was not a hate crime. This was a case, a tragic case of a disgruntled individual, I think with a history of some mental health challenges. I got to tell you, these brave men and women who provide public safety to our community, they did an incredible job. We should every day be thankful. You never know what day they're going to be needed for any kind of situation, and they're there to protect our community and our citizens.
We continue to follow breaking news downtown. One person shot dead and a shooter in critical condition this afternoon after a hostage situation at Virginia's restaurant on King Street. The shooting happened about 2 blocks from the College of Charleston campus. Police say the shooter came into the restaurant and ordered everyone on the floor. Those in the restaurant were able to get out. We know one person who was shot has died. And again, the shooter is in critical condition himself.
We've had team coverage on this situation since it started about 12:17 this afternoon. But first, Charleston County under a severe thunderstorm warning for the next 15 minutes. Our chief meteorologist, Bill Walsh, in the First Alert Weather Center. So, Bill, how's it going right now?
Well, pretty busy out there weather-wise as well. We are going to talk about some very heavy rainfall, severe thunderstorm warning as well. Let me show you. It's up and down the coast from really Georgetown, McClellanville, all the way down along the coast. Very heavy rain, gusty winds, and dangerous lightning. We gave you the first alert to this with Joey at lunch and said, you know what? Watch out for these storms. They could be developing pretty fast this afternoon, and indeed they are. Let me show you a live camera again as we show this to you from our Holiday Inn Riverview Sky Cam. Again, as you look toward the crosstown, very, very heavy rain, and again, within that, some pretty strong lightning. Let me show you the lightning. This is Mount Pleasant, back over to Charleston, on up toward North Charleston and Goose Creek. We're looking at moderate to heavy lightning. In an exclusive 3D volume scan of these, what I'm watching on this is they are starting to collapse in the downtown area. At one time, they were 50,000 feet. We'll spin this around a little bit, and again, you can see some of these storms are weakening right now, which is good news. That's why we use our 3D volume scan to show the structure of the storm. These are weakening now, so you'll see a little less rain over the next hour, hour and a half with these. Down along West Ashley, starting to see that diminish a little bit. And down here toward the Sea Islands, still some very, very heavy rainfall from Wadmalaw down toward Seabrook and back just on the other side of Edisto, and then right up toward Folly Beach. We're continuing to watch some very, very heavy rain, and still a lot of lightning for you folks down that way. So as we take a look at our current warning posture, again, we have a severe thunderstorm warning till 5:15 for southern Charleston County. That includes Seabrook over to Kiowa and Wadmalaw, and then a flood advisory till 6 o'clock tonight, pretty much for everyone else. So bottom line, at least in the metro area, bottom line, here's what to expect. These storms will be diminishing a little bit later on. Slight chance continues on Friday tomorrow. Here's a little light at the end of the tunnel. Slightly cooler this weekend. We're going to talk more about that. Plus, a powerful hurricane, Harvey, getting set to strike Texas. More on that and the tropics live here in a few minutes.
Thanks so much, Bill. Meantime, one person dead and the shooter in critical condition after that shooting that happened today at Virginia's on King Street.
We have this statement, Debbie, just in as we look at video from the scene of officers shielding themselves behind their patrol car. This is from the Bishop of the Diocese of Charleston, Bishop Robert Gruel. He says, once again, we saw the loss of human life after an act of violence in our beloved city. On behalf of the Catholic faithful in South Carolina, I offer my deepest sympathies to the family of the victim. The bishop says, as St. John Paul II said, violence and arms can never resolve the problem of men. That from Bishop Robert Gruel, the Bishop of the Diocese of Charleston.
We're going to head now to Lisa Wiseman at the First Alert desk with nuts and bolts on what happened today. Lisa?
That's right, Bill and Debbie. You really painted the picture, but I'll do it again for everyone who wasn't maybe tuned to their TVs this afternoon. This all happened at around 12:15 this afternoon, of course, at Virginia's on King. That is on King Street in downtown Charleston. Police there say a disgruntled former worker, a former dishwasher at that restaurant came in and fired at a person there. It was the chef of that restaurant, again, during a very busy lunch hour. Witnesses inside at the time, they tell us that the kitchen staff they saw run from the back of the restaurant straight through the front doors out on King Street. Then they saw a man with a gun ordering people to the ground there. People, those diners, customers, they were able to escape though, but police say the suspect was holding a small number of people hostage at the time, though they were able to get in and get that victim, that person who had been shot. They were able to get him out and take him to the hospital. Now, hostage negotiators, they were on the scene for hours there, trying for a peaceful resolution to all this situation until the suspect was shot. That happened in the 3 o'clock hour, or a little bit before that this afternoon. The suspect was rushed to the hospital. We have learned since that victim who was shot has died. We are awaiting word on just who that person was, as well as the suspect. And of course, once we learn any new information, we'll bring it to you here on Live 5. Bill, Debbie.
Thank you, Lisa. The shooting suspect yelled, "There's a new boss in town," when he ran through the restaurant, locked the front door, told the customers, if you can imagine this, get on the floor. They did, but then he let them out the back. None of the customers, Debbie, thank goodness, was hurt.
Some were held hostage, or at least one person was held hostage for hours while hostage negotiators worked with the robber or the armed gunman to try to resolve the hostage situation. We're going to head to Karina Bolster inside our newsroom with more on what was happening inside the restaurant. Karina, what are you hearing?
Well, Debbie and Bill, many of the people who were inside that restaurant said everything happened so quickly. They say it was something that they will never forget, and something that they were not anticipating heading into that lunch hour there in downtown Charleston. But take a listen to what this one gentleman had to say when the situation unfolded.
We were eating lunch. Next thing I know, the waitresses and the kitchen staff started to go out the front door. A man came out. He was holding a revolver in his hand. Walked up to the front door, locked it, told everybody to get down. We all got on the floor. After that, he said everybody to the back of the building, and as soon as we got to the back behind where the bar is, there's 2 open doors, and people started running out the doors, and he just told, I was the last one, and he told me to get out, and I went out the door, and that was it.
As you can see, many of those witnesses still trying to comprehend exactly what happened today. I'm sure they've been talking with police as well for several hours this afternoon, and may even continue into early this evening. Now, details surrounding that suspect are still very limited, but as you have heard, he is being called a disgruntled employee. We are working to identify that person at this hour, but unfortunately, right now, we are still waiting on confirmation from authorities. Back to you.
Still more details to be told here. Thank you so much, Karina. Obviously, crime scene investigators have a case to prosecute against this shooter who remains in critical condition.
Can you imagine, Debbie, you're eating lunch peacefully at a restaurant, a nice restaurant on King Street, Virginia's, and all of a sudden a guy with a gun comes in. Let's throw it down to Alexis Simmons downtown on Marion Square. Alexis, you've been there much of the afternoon. Thank goodness this active shooter problem is now over.
Right, Bill, and I actually have moved outside of Marion Square. The scene is actually right here behind me, but earlier today, the people that were in the hostage situation, some of them were from out of town. They were here on vacation, and there was a family inside. They gave their account about what happened, that they were told to get on their knees, get on the ground, and then they were also told to get to the back, and they were able to get out safely. But take a listen to what one man had to say about what happened.
I've been through 3 robberies. I worked at a bank, so I've had people take guns and stick them in my face before, but he had a small caliber gun, you know, like a .22, and but it's not safe to be around because you never know what'll happen.
So though he's been in situations quite similar, still a very scary situation for him and his family. And he actually said that his son was with them and his son's son was there as well. They heard about Virginia's restaurant through the Travel Channel. They were coming here to taste some of their famous fried chicken, and all of this has happened. So of course they're feeling safe to be out of that restaurant, but of course still very just shaken up a little bit about what has happened. I'll send it back to you all in the studio.
All right, Alexis, thanks so much. City officials, Debbie, have confirmed to us that it was the chef of the restaurant who was shot. The person who was killed, our condolences and thoughts and prayers go out to his family this afternoon.
Authorities are not releasing his identity until the family has been notified completely. So we will continue to follow this and bring you more information as it is released officially to us.
Now let's talk about a traffic problem, or let's see if we have one. Let's go to the Live 5 First Alert Traffic Center, and Jordan Wilkerson standing by. Hi, Jordan.
Hi, Bill. Hi, Debbie. Well, we had some road closures downtown due to this incident. We have not received word yet if they have opened, so we'll just take it as they are still closed and avoid these areas. So notice King Street, and this is between Calhoun and Morris and between Warren and Vanderhorst. Okay, so that's King Street. Then as we go to Vanderhorst Street, we are closed between St. Philip and King. I will go ahead and tweet that out if you would like another look. Also getting word from Mount Pleasant Police of a tree down due to a lightning strike. So yes, we're seeing some very active weather outside right now as well. So stay inside, especially if you live closer to the coastline where we're seeing some of the heavier storms. And again, this is Hamlin Road near Rifle Range. Now, I'm not sure, they did not give us the information if this is east of Rifle Range or west of Rifle Range, but one lane is blocked due to that tree going down. Then we do have quite a few breakdowns and some crashes, so let's get to that. A right lane is blocked due to a stalled vehicle I-26 westbound at Romney Street. That's exit 220. Then we have a stalled vehicle I-526 eastbound at exit 17A for I-26, so basically the merge. Then we have an accident on I-26 eastbound at Aviation Avenue. That's exit 211, and it looks like we have a left lane blocked due to an accident on I-26 westbound at exit 209. That's Ashley Phosphate Road. An accident on Treeland Drive at Tall Pines Road. And of course, we will get to your drive times. Of course, we're seeing a lot of people on the road. This is rush hour, of course, but also with the wet, slick roads out there, we're seeing a lot of backup as well. We'll have more coming up. Stay with us.